All right. So, obviously, there's been a good amount of effort and time spent getting us to the point where we're building out our first campaign, before we really got into Facebook and started building our ads. Well, there's quite a few reasons for that, but the main reason is that it makes our setup process much faster and much less error prone. And in that same vein, there's a variety of ways to keep that efficiency going as you build out your campaigns and ad sets and ads even further. And so we kind of wanted to run through some tips and tricks on that and make this entire process as efficient for you as possible. So the number one thing that's going to make your life easier is the duplication process. So it's maybe like the most meaningful thing for an efficient ad setup that Facebook introduced. So this duplicate button can be used at the campaign level, the ad set level, and the ad level. And it's a great feature at every stage, especially at the ad level, to make your process faster. So we're going to run through a couple of notes and examples of when you might want to use this at the campaign, the ad set, and the ad level. And then we'll run you through a quick demonstration of how this operates. So at the when you duplicate a campaign, you're duplicating out everything that's inside of that campaign. So flashback to our campaign or our account hierarchy. So we've got at the top our ad account, then we've got our campaign, then inside of our campaign we've got ad sets, and then inside of our ad sets we've got ads. So that means every ad set along with every ad inside of each ad set is being duplicated when you also duplicate a campaign. So depending on what you're doing, campaign duplication can save a lot of time. When you're duplicating your campaign, you should do your best not to change the campaign objective, as this is going to require some additional effort in getting your ads and your ad sets reset up. But campaign duplication is a great way to A/B test something, specifically with two different ad sets. Perhaps you have an ad set that's performing really well and want to duplicate it, but use a slightly different age range, or narrow down an age range. Maybe you've got a wide one, you're performing from 18 to 40, and you want to see if it's stronger from 18 to 30 to 31 to 40. And so duplicating your campaign and having them run at the same time with maybe just that one ad set and the same budget is a great way to do some A/B testing inside of that. Next thing down is ad set duplication. So works the same as campaign, in that it's going to duplicate everything that's inside of it. So it's going to duplicate all the ads that are already inside of that campaign. And ad set duplication is really beneficial when you're starting to get into tighter audiences. For example, if you're using 1% lookalike of your email audience and you haven't set any specific ages on it, but you're wanting to narrow in on what ages are specifically converting, you could duplicate that ad set, change the age ranges for each one, just make sure you're changing the name of each ad set so you don't get confused. And then additionally, if you have the same age ranges, you have the same gender, and you just need to change the audiences, and the same placements, or you're just changing a placement, it's the same audiences. So for example, if I created an ad set, it was for Facebook on mobile devices, it was for website lookalike audiences, and it was targeting women between the ages of 18 to 30. And I wanted to basically do all of those same things, but now I want to put it on Instagram mobile. Doing the ad set duplication process is super, super simple here. And you're going to duplicate it. And then all you have to do is change your placement to Instagram mobile. And then you might need to double check that your Instagram is still represented, and you can, click all and do that. And we'll show that. And then the ad set duplication process is probably the most beneficial when we get into this. So if you got 2 to 3 campaigns and you've got 2 or 3 ad sets in each campaign, and we recommend you've got at least 3 to 5 ads per ad set. That's a lot of ad creative across the board. And if you're sitting there manually building, let's say 5 ads inside of 3 ad sets, and you have to do that multiple more times for your other campaigns, that just takes a lot of time. So the ad duplication process is really, really helpful, but there is a couple of things to note. So one is the platform differentiation. So we discussed in module 3 how different parts of your ads show up on different platforms, and this can play out into doing smart creation and smart duplication when it comes to creating your ads as well. So if you're planning on running the same ad on Instagram feeds and on Facebook feeds, you should always create your ad in the ad sets for Facebook, as you saw during our campaign creation process. So when we were creating our ad set, we showed you our Instagram mobile campaign creation or ad set creation that only gave us our body text. We'll go back through, we'll create our Facebook targeted ad set, which will then give us our body text and our headline and our description. And if we create everything inside of that and then duplicate it over to Instagram, the Instagram ad set will automatically use the information it needs. And it's going to get rid of the parts that it doesn't. So in this case, like I mentioned before, that headline is going to transfer over, but the description is going to be gone and all that same information is going to be there. And you can more than easily go through and remove that headline if you want from those particular Instagram ad sets. And then, from those Instagram ads. And then the format differentiation is the other component here. So kind of similar, but we just want to give it its own shout out. So as we discussed previously, each different ads placement, such as Facebook feed versus Instagram story, has creative specs that are formatted specifically for that channel. So if you create an ad for Instagram story in that proper 9:16 aspect ratio, that ad isn't going to work well on the Facebook feed. So you're going to need to make sure that you don't duplicate that ad anywhere that it shouldn't go. So if you've got stories stuff, you only want to duplicate it to stories. If you've got feed stuff, you only want to duplicate it to feeds. The kind of caveat here is if you wanted to duplicate something from the feed to the story, that transfers over a little bit better. But remember, those aspect ratios are going to be different. And so now I've got a whole phone screen on an Instagram story or a Facebook story, and it's only being taken up by that square image that came from the Instagram feed, which, depending on how much you care, could kind of look a little wonky. So we'll go ahead and walk you through the duplication process just so you can see it, and then we'll keep on rolling here. All right, you guys, so we're gonna recreate an ad set and then walk through the duplication process just so you can kind of see it. So I'm back in my account. I'm gonna click create. So I don't want to create a campaign. We're only going to create this ad set. So I'm going to change this. So I'm going to exit out. I want to use my top of the funnel winner collection, and I'm going to create an ad set. And I know that I want this to be for Facebook on mobile devices. And I want it to be look alike email list, and we're gonna say women 27 to 40, and I'm gonna click continue. So because I clicked create and I was inside of my ad set level in my account, so I wasn't inside of the campaign, I clicked create. It's going to let me just create this specific ad set. So Facebook's having some problems over here. Let's bounce out of here for a really quick second. See if she's going to agree with us. So I'm going to click edit. There we go. So now you can see on this left-hand side. So I've got this IG mobile ad set already built, and it's under my top of the funnel here. And now I've got this Facebook one. I'm going to quickly go through my setup process again. You already know this one. So I want my lookalike. And I've got lookalike current subscribers. Then I'm coming down, keeping this location set to the US. I'm setting this, we said 27 to 40. So when I set this, 27. Don't want this to 65 to 40. I'm going to roll it down. Now I've got to get into my manual placements. So I want this only on Facebook mobile. So here, I'm going to go into my devices. I'm going to get rid of desktop. So I'm going to uncheck desktop. I'm going to come in here. Now, when I say Facebook mobile, I'm going to get rid of Instagram. I'm going to get rid of Messenger. And I'm going to get rid of Audience Network. You can utilize all of these. But for kind of the best bang for your buck, we like to focus mainly on the Facebook news feed. We'll kind of leave this Facebook video feeds as well too, because people generally tend to kind of roll through this. But I'm going to get rid of Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Stories, because we're not going to put the correct aspect ratio in here. I'm going to get rid of in-stream videos. I'm going to leave search results. So if people are searching, we will still come up. I'm going to get rid of in article. And here we go. So, and then we'll go in, we'll make an ad. So I'm going to say red side slit T. This is for our 12/1 campaign. So in this case, I'm going to say this is only for Facebook. And notice how under here, Instagram isn't a placement because at our ad set level, we said that we only wanted to put this on Facebook. So it's not even offering me this Instagram here. It's asking if I want to add Instagram. FB, and then I'm just going to call this image 1. Okay, same process. I'm going to go down. I'm going to add my media. Let's add image. Oops, I'm going to click upload. Again, I already had my folder here. I've got this T in here. I'm going to bounce back over, pick up my copy. Again, we're using our Halloween copy. Drop this in here. It's going to take a second in this preview for it to load. Like I said, Facebook's having some trouble this morning. I'm going to drop my headline in here. So I go back. Here's my headline. Here's my description. And here's my URL. Come back and drop this in. Notice how this ad is not letting you go further until you put in this website URL. So it won't even let you publish it. I'm going to change my call to action to shop now. Double check all my things. So now I've got this created on this left-hand side. So the 3 dots next to my Facebook mobile ad set where it says action menu, I'm going to click here and I'm going to click duplicate. So it's going to ask me if I want to build it into a new campaign, an original campaign, but I want an existing campaign. I want it to go back into this top of the funnel winner collection. So you've got that here, and you can change this if you want to. For our purposes, I'm just going to unclick show existing reactions, comments, and shares on ads because this is brand new. You can leave it because in this case, it doesn't matter, but understand what this means. So if you've got ads that have already been running and have comments and reactions and things on them, this would keep those there or not. And then a number of copies. So I just want 1 copy of this ad set. I'm going to click duplicate. Okay, so you can see we've now got our duplicated ad set. It's popped up over here on the left-hand side, and then it automatically opens to it. Now, I want to change the name, so I'm going to get rid of this thing that says copy on it. And I'm going to go over here, and I want this same exact ad set, but I just want this on Facebook desktop. So I'm changing the name. You'll see it populate on the left-hand side, and now it's changed in my actual ad set. And then I want to scroll down. So all the settings are staying the same. The only thing that's changing is that I now want this to serve on Facebook on desktop. So it's a slightly inefficient process because you have to click and then unclick. So now I've got only desktop selected. You can see it automatically took away Instagram and Messenger because those are mobile specific. I'm going to take away my audience network, and then I'm going to do the same thing as I did earlier, right? So I'm going to get rid of the spaces that I don't want this to show. So I'm not into marketplace. You can leave the right column. There's not as much of an, issue here. This does show up pretty regularly on people's feeds. So we'll go ahead and leave it for today. Search results, just double check everything else. And now I've got this same ad set. I cut out a ton of the work, and it's got the same ads that I had in my mobile ad set before. It's copied over the copy that I had. It's copied over the title, everything. It cut out a ton of work. And now this is going to serve people in an entirely different place. So we've got my Facebook mobile, my Facebook desktop, and my IG mobile ad sets over here on the left-hand side. And that really is the power of the duplication. So Facebook tends to run a little bit slow when you're doing all of these things, and can be maybe a little bit of a pain, but ultimately the process of duplicating everything and doing some renaming and a couple of extra button clicks is much more efficient. It's going to expedite this entire process than if you were to create every single ad set and every single ad by hand. So last thing is, you probably saw us using this. So when you started creating your ad copy, did you have it organized? Were you working with a Word doc? Things were kind of scattered all over the place. Creating an easy to read ad copy matrix has a ton of benefits in your creation process. One being the ability to compare and contrast your copy before you put it out. So making sure that, you've got a couple of different headlines, a couple of different body text, a couple of different descriptions, and make sure that they're all working together in each ad. Make sure you're covering all your bases on, different topics that you need to cover, things you want to convey to your customer. And then the other benefit in setting up your ad copy matrix beforehand is that your ad setup process gets expedited because you can just kind of copy paste. And you saw us utilizing ours with our body text, our headline description, and our URL, but you can use this simple attachment that we've put in your supplementary materials guide that's got ad name, body text, headline, description, button, and URL. You can copy paste that over and then kind of use that as a framework. And it seems really simple, but coming up with all of those things ahead of time and being able to kind of process them and analyze them before you're just starting to kind of plug and play, it's going to make everything a lot stronger. It's going to make everything a lot more efficient. And you're going to thank yourself in the long run.